All right, let's see how much of your homework I can do in just a few minutes here. I got 15. So, you know, this is straight out of your notes. You just need to look at your notes. Look at your notes for 1 and 2, okay? Rewrite the equation into exponential form. So I'm actually going to write down the whole form for 1 and 2, which is a log base b, argument a equal to e has an equivalent inverse of b to the e equal to a. So I literally just gave you that and that as I go through the process of doing one of these. Rewrite the equation into exponential form. Remember, and it's there, log base b argument a equal to e has an equivalent inverse. So lineup process, base, argument, exponent. 6 to the negative second is 136. And by the way, that's true because this is 1 over 6 squared, which happens to be 136. You know you're right if the numbers make sense. Moving forward, rewrite the exponential equation into logarithmic form. And once again, it's all about this. A logarithm base b argument a equal to some e has an equivalent inverse of b to the e equal to a. So these are a little backwards to some degree, but bases have exponents. So that's my base, that's my exponent, which means that's my argument. This is actually a logarithm of base 2. Her argument is 12, and she would equal x. Ta-da! Right. All right, explain in words what the question is asking and then answer it. Number 9 has a base of 6, so it says what power, since 6 is the base, of 6 equals 216. Now I know 6 times 6 times 6 is 216, which is really 6 cubed. So the answer is 3. All right, we got a graphing problem here. I may as well do that. We got ourselves a right 2 shift, and then we got a down 5. So go right 2, and I'm going to draw that in because it is actually important to me, and then down 5, and I'm going to draw that in because it's really important to me because this is the horizontal asymptote. It's at y equals -5. I will not, shall not, cannot cross that. I also need a table. Since I went right 2, I center my table at 2. Something less than 2 is 1, something more than 2 is 3. And I plug in. If I put a 2 right here, that becomes a 0. 3 to the 0 is 1. 1 minus 5 is -4. If I put a 1 here, I have 3 to the -1st minus 5. And that is a third because the negative exponent turns into 1 over 3. And that's going to be negative and then minus 5. And a third minus 5 is like -4.67. All right. If I put a 3 in there, that becomes a 1, right? 3 to the first minus 5, that's -2. And there's my 3 points. So my graph is going to contain 2 -4. It's going to contain 1 -4.67, getting close to that asymptote. And it's going to contain 3 -2. And you're supposed to remember what mama looks like. Looks a little something like that. Because she looks close to mama. It's just been shifted. Not doing 15. Well, yeah, let's do 17. Given f of x is 3x plus 2 and g of x is x squared plus 2x plus 3, find g of f of x. Old school would look like this, which is awesome because that means that I'm going to put a 3x plus 2 there, which means that every x in g becomes 3x plus 2. It ain't hard, you nimwits. It's not. Not hard. It just requires you doing a couple of things. So anyways, let's figure this out now. This is g of 3x plus 2. So every x I encounter becomes an x plus 2. Or sorry, 3x plus 2. Now, if you're going to square something, you're going to write it twice. Then you're going to FOIL 3 times 3, 9x squared. 3 times 2. Don't forget about the 6x. Write that up here. Happens again right there. And 6x plus 6x is 12x. And then 2 times 2 plus 4. Hit it with a distributive property, plus 6x plus 4. And don't forget about the plus 3 at the end. Combine all of your like terms. There are 9x squareds. We have a 12x and a 6x. Last I checked, that was 18x. 4 and 4 makes 8. Add 3, we're sitting pretty at 11. And that is G composed of F composed of X. And let's do about 2 of these. Let's do 20 and, I don't know, maybe 22. Find F composed of G composed of 2. More affectionately written, F of G of 2. So we're going to find G of 2. So I'm going to go to where X is 2, and then I'm going to look at G, and I'm going to think about the Y value. That's negative 4. This is literally negative 4. So now the question is, find F of negative 4. So I'm going to go where X is negative 4, and then I'm going to look at function F, and then I'm going to look at the Y-axis, and I'm going to count, and I believe it to be a 5. It ain't rocket science. 22, G of 4. More affectionately written, old school, G composed of 4. And G of 4 looks to me like it is negative 2. So this becomes now find G of negative 2. So I go back to where negative 2 is. I look at G, and by golly, gee, wow, it's negative 4. Ta-da! That's really about all the time I got. Anything else, you'll just have to pester me. Although I tell you what, this is going to be something that we go over on a Thursday, isn't it? Let me do another one just to save workload here on Thursday. Hopefully you guys can figure these out because those are like super easy. Let's do 15. I'll call it a day. What rate of interest is required to turn $100 into $1,000 in 5 years if interest is compounded daily? So because I saw that daily thing, it's got to be the compound interest formula. Now, that is telling me there's 365 days in a year. That's n. The exponent is going to be 365 times t, which is 5. And I don't know why I was kind of plugging stuff in there I shouldn't have been, but the principal is 100. I'm going to turn it into 1,000. And I'm going to have 1 plus some unknown over 365. And let's see here. That's going to be 1,825, I think. That seems legit. 1,825. You want to do it by hand? We can. You're going to divide out 100. 1,000 over 100 is 10. That's going to free up 1 plus the rate over 365 raised to the 1,825th power. The opposite of the 1,825th power is the 1,825th root. Now, that would be 10 to the 1,825th power, and that would be equal to 1 plus r over 365. I need to subtract 1. 10 to the 1 over 1,825th power minus 1 is r over 365. And then I need to multiply everything by 365 because I want to clear that fraction on the right-hand side. And that, boys and girls, is the thing that I push buttons on. 365, parentheses, 10 to the, I'm finding the 1,825th root. 1 over 1,825 minus 1 is my rate, 0.4608. Or 46.08. Yep, wrote that all wrong. 46.08%. I could have done a Y1, Y2. I could have done that, but I'm a man, so I'm going to do it that way. You want to be a little pansy? You do a Y1, Y2. You want to be a man? You do algebra. That's my motto on that stuff. Anyways, have a good day.